touched on privilege earlier, right?
Yeah.
Here's the amusing thing for me. Um, I'm extremely privileged. I'm extremely see, because I've had, you know, okay, obviously the person I'm referring to had some issues, but I've had white men come to me and say, "Oh, shame, it must be so hard to be so underprivileged." And I'm like, sorry, but you were in a lower social class growing up. You're less educated than me. You're in a lower earning bracket than me. Where are you seeing yourself being more privileged? and,
Yeah.
and my mother gets so upset. She's like, you shouldn't act like that. That's so arrogant and whatever. I'm like, no, but sometimes we have to be honest about this stuff, that privilege doesn't, privilege comes in many different forms and many different shapes and sizes, right?
Hmm.
um and there is also value in acknowledging that, and not trying to always say, oh, woe is me. I'm not, and I'm not speaking specifically about skin color or anything. I mean, I think that there are a lot of instances in
There's
which
a lot
I'll,
of
I'll
yeah.
give a perfect example. There's so many people, when I started talking about how much I earn as a translator, not mentioning the amounts, but just referring to, like, sort of, you know, giving people examples of, like, where you can get to with translation. My intention was to motivate people, and people would write to me and say, oh, can I work with you? I'm sure I could do a great job and I would do so well. And I'm like, well, if you think you would do well as a translator, start out on your own. Why do you need to come and work for me? And oh, no, but the only reason why you get to work as a translator is because you have a medical degree. Like, no, most translators don't have a medical degree.
Right.
So even things like that for me are very dangerous. But it's it's difficult because it's easier to be negative and say this is not happening because of XYZ, rather than saying this is not happening because I'm not putting in what I need to put in to get where I want to go. I mean, classic example for me is like the Germany thing, right? When I talk about wanting to have a business, but the problem is that I'm just too open about how capitalist I am, right? Especially in German. In English, I try and tone it down. In German, I'm just very much like, I'm about the money. I'm here for the money. You people are not going to make me ashamed of wanting to have a good pension. Like, no. but but it's difficult because, yeah, I mean, you obviously you get the negative impressions and stuff, but people will often tell you, and not just people in Germany, people all over the world will be like, yeah, but we've never really seen someone who looks like you do that kind of thing. And I don't see that as a negative. I see that as, well, so you're telling me that I could be the first, all the more motivation. You know what I mean? All the more motivation to do it. And I've
Yeah.
realized maybe that's what we need to be teaching people, is that when you see a space that is not occupied by, quote unquote, someone like you, whatever that may be, maybe look at it as an opportunity to go in there and be the first one, and figure out what it takes to get there, and figure out, I mean, just think about it. If you figure out the key to unlock that door, you can tell everybody else and give other people a chance